Tornado warning right now. It's in effect for Mississippi and Lauderdale County. Let's put some features on the map and show you what we're looking at. This is a line of thunderstorms that's been moving through the Action News 5 coverage area this afternoon. It's moving off to the east. Let's put this into motion for you and show you what we are looking at. First of all, the warning itself, right now, a tornado warning. That means that the National Weather Service has seen a tornado rotation within this. It is going to go until 5:30 this afternoon. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Lauderdale, Mississippi, Tipton County, and a tornado warning also overlapping that for those very same counties. Now, let's take a closer look in and show you what we are tracking right now as we just zoom in a little tighter on this cell itself and show you that warning, that strong thunderstorm. Again, all part of a line that is moving off to the east. And as we put this into motion for you and show you where it's going to go over the next few minutes, it is rapidly moving off to the east right now. I'll put a track on this cell to show you who's going to be impacted within the next few minutes as it moves off to the east. It's about 40 miles per hour. We're going to see this get into Drummond's in about 5 minutes, 21 minutes away from Covington, Ripley, 27 minutes away. It'll get into Mason in about 43 minutes. If it holds together, just about an hour before it moves into Brownsville, Alamo, just over an hour, Humboldt, and Jackson within the next 90 minutes or so. So I mentioned this is all part of a pretty significant line of storms that's coming on through the area right now, but it is this cell that we're watching more closely. And as I clear some of this off, let's take a closer look at what this is producing, because it's also dropping a tremendous amount of rainfall. There may even be some hail in there. We're getting indications of just over 2.5 inches per hour. But right now, our main concern is the tornado warning that was just issued with this moments ago by the National Weather Service. And as I take a look in, it looks like that's the area right there where we may have some rotation, and it is moving off to the east. So with that, we're going to take a look at this. Let me zoom in just a little bit tighter. I think Spencer Denton is on links right now. And Spencer, if you've got a better view of this, let me know. That's crossing 55 right now, and look at that. You can even see where the red and green are coming together. That little area just to the south of Osceola. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit tighter. I see, Spencer, you've got a good look at it there on the links, and we're going to come to you in just a moment. But right now, just to the southwest of Osceola, moving off to the east, that's what we're looking at. And Spencer, let's take a look at what you're seeing right now, because that's pretty impressive. I noticed that S shape on the rotation detector, and that's oftentimes an indicator that there is some rotation within that cell. What are you seeing?
Yeah, Ron, this is a different part of our technology that we use sometimes to look at the rotation within the cell, and you can see it right now. This is really between Corona and Osceola, and that is now moving to the east, and I'm going to just update it. We just got a new update. It's this area in red that you see here, and I want to circle this one more time. It's about to cross over the river, so it's going basically east-northeast, and so this is the area of potential rotation. Again, we don't have anything confirmed on the ground yet with this storm. It does look like a lot of this rotation is aloft. I'm going to look at a couple different variables here real quick and show you and these are some of the tools we use to see if there's a possible tornado on the ground. This is probably one of the best tools to look at. It's called debris detection, and this tells us if there's anything flying around in the upper levels that could possibly be debris, and I don't see anything there. Typically, we would see something of some type of blue color here, and I don't see that at all, so that's good news. So this may be, at this point, like it is, it's a radar-indicated tornado. This is nothing confirmed, but we want to keep a close eye because these can ramp up, especially with the heat and the instability that we have in the air. If you are in the town of Cherry, Luckett, Glimp, Lightfoot, or Ashport, this rotation is heading your direction, so you want to stay inside, just stay in that safe place until this storm passes. Ron?
You know, Spencer, these cells have been trying to rotate all afternoon long. This is all part of a pretty significant line. We've got a cold front that's coming through right now, and the cold front just behind this line line. So as this moves off to the east and continues pushing to the east, well, we're going to continue to see little segments of this line spin as they're trying to move in this direction, but at the same time pushing off to the east. But right now, here's what we're dealing with. We have 3 warnings going right now. First and most importantly, the tornado warning, that's going to be until 5:30. That is for Lauderdale, Mississippi, and Tipton County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for those same counties. And just to the west of that, or southwest of that, we've got another severe thunderstorm warning that was also showing some signs of trying to rotate. That severe thunderstorm warning is going to go until 5:15. It is for Monroe, Woodruff counties, but it also includes a portion of Phillips County, St. Francis County this afternoon. So this is the one we're watching very closely. There it is, Cross, Lee, and St. Francis County. That's going to go until 5:30 this afternoon. So let's clear all this out of here. Let's put some tools back on, and let's track this entire line as it's moving off to the east this afternoon. Wind has been our biggest concern with this, and we talked yesterday about the potential for an isolated tornado, but that threat being very low. Now today we've dealt primarily with just very heavy rainfall along that line, a lot of lightning, even some small hail, but right now this is the first tornado warning we've had to come from this. The heavier rain itself continuing to move east, and as we take a look in this little area right here, we're seeing some indications of hail right around 3, just under a third of an inch, right at or just below a third of an inch in hail. But the tornado warning itself, that cell right there, that is moving off to the east, that's going to continue moving through. And as Spencer noted, a lot of lightning in there too. Lightning also an indicator of the severity of a cell. Got about 40 strikes there. Let's expand out. And yeah, about 120 strikes just within that entire cell itself. So putting a track on this once again as we update this information. Tornado warning is going to go until 5:30. Ashport, the cell is right on top of you right now. Walnut Grove, we're going to see that move in. Walnut Grove in about 6 minutes. It'll get into Lightfoot in 13 minutes. ARP 16 minutes. Ripley 23 minutes. Curve 28 minutes away. It'll move into Nutbush in 36 minutes and about 38 minutes before it gets into Cross Road. I want to take a look at spectrum width because that's also an indicator of where the strongest winds will be. Kind of tough to see right there, but we are seeing some indication of some stronger winds in, let me see if I can zoom in just a little tighter on that area right there, and for whatever reason it's not coming up. But this is the big line itself. That's the line that's going to continue to push through. Severe thunderstorm warning again for Lee, St. Francis, and a portion of Cross County, but the tornado warning now for central Mississippi County, that includes Osceola, and for Lauderdale County. Ripley, you're included in this as well. If you are anywhere in close proximity to the cell, I want you to go to the lowest floor of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. The center location of your home, lowest floor, away from windows. Don't go try to capture a picture on this. Let's let this cell pass and move on through as it continues to move off to the east. As we're taking a look at the next rad data, this is from the National Weather Service itself. I want to track just within that line because as this continues to move off to the east, it is going to impact Ashport, about 9 minutes away, Ripley, 33 minutes, Nutbush, about 46 minutes. So that's another portion of that cell coming on through. But right now, this entire line all moving off to the east. So that's going to take that on through West Tennessee. Northern Mississippi, you may fare a little better this evening because we're going to lose some of the heat of the day. But right now, the greatest intensity is in that little system or that portion of the line itself as it's moving off to the east. So that's what we're looking at right now. Spencer, you got a pretty good looking track on that. Let's go over to you and see what you're taking a look at on the rotation tracker. What do you see?
Is still showing up there in our rotation detection algorithm here. The BTI, the Barron Tornado Index, is what we use to kind of see how strong this rotation is. It's at a 2.8 on a scale of 1 to 10. So it's still low, but it has been increasing. Also, there is a camera that I know that if we can pull that up in Luxora, near Luxora, the RDOT camera right now, a very heavy rain. This is actually just north of the rotation. So the rotation is just south of here, very close to the Mississippi River. Again, you can see blinding rain, very heavy rainfall, maybe some higher wind gusts. No really big signs of hail with this storm, but certainly the wind and the rain are going to be the big impacts, especially there as you go along I-55. So if you're traveling or plan to travel in any of these areas, you may want to sit tight, stay inside, stay in your safe spot until the warning has expired. Again, that warning goes until 5:30. So again, we're watching this area of rotation with this cell moving into portions now of Lauderdale County. So Ron, certainly it looks pretty ominous as far as what we see on the camera there, but thankfully so far no actual reports of a tornado on the ground yet.
Yeah, no reports of damage with any of this either. Now, power could be an issue for some, especially given the fact that there's some pretty significant wind in there, and we also have a lot of lightning. Should you lose power, don't forget, you can continue to watch our live coverage on the First Alert Weather app, right there on your smartphone or your tablet. And by the way, if you're in West Tennessee, northern Mississippi, I want you to take some time right now, charge your mobile devices, because this line is going to come on through. And with the lightning that's within the line itself, there is the potential for power outages to extend into parts of eastern Arkansas, well into West Tennessee. This whole cell itself producing just under 250 strikes of lightning. But right now, it is the severe thunderstorm warning that we're watching closely. The tornado warning we're watching closely right there from Mississippi, Lauderdale counties. This is coming on across the river right now. We take a look at the velocity on this, or the wind. We're looking at wind, speed, and direction. The areas in green, that's moving toward the radar site, which is in Millington, Tennessee. The red, that's wind moving away, but it's when we see red and green coming together in close proximity and pretty tight on the radar site itself, that's when we see the potential for a tornado to spin up, and that's what we're looking for this afternoon. We've seen a couple of those with this little cell itself. Right now, I don't see anything as significant as what we saw earlier. However, I want to watch it closely. I do want to point out something here. You see that little area right there, that bow? Here, I'll draw that line out for you. Let me draw this out. Because you see that right there? It's just kind of makes a bit of a bow itself. We'd call that a bow echo, and there is wind coming in behind that. That's the most forceful point of the cell itself. That's where we could find the strongest winds and the greater potential for any damage that may be accompanying this. Not just tornado damage, but it could be straight line wind damage. So Fulton, you're about 2 minutes away from this. Fulton Baptist Church, 2 minutes away. Fort Pillow State Park, Detroit, 9 minutes. About 9 minutes before it gets into the Pentecost Church neighborhood, 11 minutes away from Walnut Grove, and 13 minutes away from Green Chapel. But right now we have the tornado warning that is for Lauderdale, Mississippi, and a portion, very small portion. There's Mississippi County, there's Lauderdale County, and a small portion of Tipton County right now. But that's the strongest cell. That's the most intense activity. And you can see it crossing on through Osceola right now. Rainfall rates continue to be high with this system. Let's take a look at that. Ooh, I'm even seeing some purple. That's another indicator that there could be some hail in there. It's coming down at about 2.78 inches per hour. Taking a look at the hail locator. Right there in that area, still showing it just under ½ an inch in size. Severe weather criteria calls for hail 1 inch or greater in size, but right now looks like it's just under ½ an inch. Spencer, we're looking at the storm threats. Anything catch your eye on that?
Yeah, I'm watching the threat tracker, and this kind of takes into account all the different variables, including hail and wind, and it is still indicating, like you were saying, Ron, you're picking up on that hail core is increasing just a little bit, and because of that, we may be seeing up to 1 inch or higher hail as this whole system moves now toward Cherry. So Cherry, the hail threat is heading toward you right now. Also, been watching, and we've been talking about the rotation with these storms. And when I look at the path of the rotation, you can clearly see there was at least some upper level rotation with both of these storms. So that's something we thought might be occurring today, and it certainly is. There's one path right there. There's another one. So even if the storm is not producing a tornado on the ground, they are definitely rotating. But right now, the biggest threat seems to be hail and some damaging wind gusts as well. So, Ron, right now, so far, again, like you said, no damage reports from this. And I think this is going to be more of a wind threat than anything, especially as this line kind of comes together, as it gels together over the next couple of hours, and especially by sunset.
Yeah, that's a good analysis. We're at our maximum heating of the day. Typically, this part of the afternoon, we've reached our maximum heating potential. So there's a lot of energy out there for this line to work with. But we're also getting closer to sunset, and as that angle of sun gets a little lower in the horizon or closer to the horizon, well, we start to lose some of that energy, and I think that's going to happen pretty quickly. But we still have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for a good portion of eastern Arkansas, just about all of West Tennessee, and we've got DeSoto and Tunica County included in this until 8 o'clock. It also includes Memphis and Shelby County. Now, let me show you this shot from our First Horizon building downtown, because here in the city of Memphis and across much of the area, but just to the west, we got a big storm coming, and that is moving towards the city of Memphis. And as we take a look at this right now on our First Alert Doppler radar, there it is. Tornado warning, that's going to go until 5:30. Severe thunderstorm warning until 5:30. This entire line pushing to the east, and it is moving that tornado warn cells moving at about 55 miles per hour. So that's the fastest part of the system itself. And as this whole thing moves off to the east, well, it's going to bring the threat for severe weather into West Tennessee now, and possibly into northern Mississippi for that southern portion of that line. But it's all due to a cold front that's moving on through right now. And as we take a look at this and see what is moving within this, I want to zoom in just a little tighter once again and take another look at that tornado warn cell. And we'll come back, and right after that, I'm going to take a quick look at what's going on down here in St. Francis and Lee County. But right now, the greatest threat for any damage or any tornado potential is going to be right there within that cell. It's now moving east of Osceola. I think most of the town of Osceola pretty much in the clear. It's that leading edge that we're watching very closely, and that's where the greatest potential for damage will be, and that is now moved on to the east of Osceola, so it's good to see that. But it's now converging on Ripley and Tipton County. And look at this area coming in, just kind of develops right there over Tipton County. Do you see that? That's an indication of the available moisture and the instability, giving that lift, and all of this converging to create pretty significant storm. Let's put another track on it and show you where this is going to go within the next few minutes. I'm going to track it from that leading edge right there. We'll move it off to the east, northeast. So Gilt Edge, 3 minutes away. Burleson, 8 minutes. At the very least, you're going to get a strong gust of wind. You're going to get some very heavy rain, maybe even some small hail. But if there is a tornado in this, then that's going to be coming through in about 8 minutes into Burleson. 15 minutes before it moves into Ripley. 24 minutes from Covington. Nutbush, 33 minutes away. Maury City, 42 minutes. It will move into Brim's Corner in about 49 minutes and 57 minutes before it gets into Alamo. So right now, we have no visual confirmation of a storm, of a tornado. Although I did, Spencer, hear from William Frog, who is a local storm chaser. He was watching this cell. He's seen rotation, saw the wall cloud, shot me a couple of pictures earlier, as a matter of fact, and said that he did see a funnel, but it didn't come in contact with the ground. So I think National Weather Service, seeing that rotation and possibly even some of his reports, that's what prompted them to issue this. But the good news, no confirmation of a tornado on the ground. But I will tell you right now, I wouldn't want to be under that.
No, absolutely not. And, you know, I think the big story here, again, Ron, is going to be the wind, because even if this rotating cell is not reaching the ground like we're so far getting confirmation of, we are seeing some strong winds with this. In fact, the radar just updated. I want to show you again the winds. These are actual winds within the storm right now, and they were as high as 57 miles per hour in this tornado-warned storm. Let me zoom in a little bit tighter and click on some of these higher values here. You can see around 47 mile per hour winds. Now we're looking at this storm at about, well, we're still looking at a height of about 1,500 feet in elevation. So still fairly low in elevation. So that means we could at least see 40 to 50 mile per hour winds approaching the town of Cherry, Glimp, Luckett, Hurricane Hill, and Henning as well. In fact, let me go over to the right here just a little bit. I'm going to go just to the east and kind of show you some of the areas that will be impacted. So if I zoom out, we're looking north of Memphis right now. Here's Highway 51. So Highway 51 is goes like this. I'll just draw on the map. This is Highway 51 going up through Ripley and Henning right here. And this storm is moving this direction, east and northeast as of right now. So there it is on the reflectivity. You can see all the red on the screen. That indicates heavy rain. That's not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean severe weather, but that's extremely heavy rain that is moving in to those areas. But right now, the main threat with this storm is high wind. We're still watching other storms that are developing back to the south and west of this right now. So big cluster of storms that's lining up and heading toward Memphis and Shelby County. So, Ron, we are going to deal with these storms at least for the next couple of hours.
Do we still have that Luxora camera, Brian, our TMP in the booth? Do you have Turl? Let's take a look at that camera once again. The Luxora camera was pretty impressive moments ago, and this is moving, just that one portion of the cell, moving at about 55 miles per hour. So this came and went through quickly. Right now in Turl, Arkansas, it's still raining pretty heavily. I don't see much of an indication of strong wind. That's good news. So it looks like now the most intense portion of this crossing the Mississippi River and into West Tennessee. So I tell you what, let's take a look at our TDOT cameras on 51. If you see something interesting, our folks in the booth, let me know, and we'll go to that quickly. Right now, we still have this other cell that is working right here. This is the one that is the southern portion of this line, and look at this. That's pretty impressive itself. That's a significant thunderstorm, and there is an active severe thunderstorm warning for that. Cross, Lee, St. Francis County, that goes until 5:30 this afternoon. Let's put a track on this and show you where it's going to go. I'm tracking this at about 45 miles per hour. Tell you what, let's see if we've got anything in the way of lightning. I'm not even seeing any lightning indication in there. That's good. Let me try that one more time. Let's take a look. Let's see here. Okay, so that may just be very heavy rain and some pretty strong or gusty wind within that line. So let's track that off to the east. This is likely going to move through the city of Memphis, or portion of that, just clipping the city. But right now, 3 minutes away from Forest City, about 8 minutes before it moves into Madison. We'll see it get into Aubrey in 16 minutes, about 23 minutes before it moves into Mariana, Proctor 31 minutes, Hughes 35 minutes, 42 minutes before it moves into West Memphis. It's going to move into Horseshoe Lake in about 51 minutes. Right now, heavy rain, the main concern with this line itself. And taking a look at that, wow, just to the southwest of Forest City, right there on 40. It's coming down at close to 3 inches per hour. Just to the southwest of that, just over 1.5 inches per hour. Taking a look at the velocity on this, so the wind speed, and it looks like there may be a little bit of rotation in there. A couple of areas that show some signs of rotation, which is common, not necessarily tornadic. That's a pretty large area right there, but there could be some broad scale rotation within that. And taking a look at spectrum width, this is basically showing us where the potential for the greatest turbulence is within this, and the potential for the strongest wind. And where you see these areas in orange, red, yellow, that's an indicator that we're seeing some pretty significant wind within that. So let me zoom in just a little tighter. We'll put a track on this and show you where that's going to go. We have the Forest City live camera. And this is a look right now. That's right there on I-40 at Forest City. And right now it looks like it's just very heavy rain. Spencer, have you had a chance to take a look at that cell and see if there's anything in it that's significant or may present some damaging potential?
Well, right now, Ron, the damage potential looks a little lower almost with all these storms. They canceled the tornado warning, so the tornado warning is now canceled. So we don't have any other tornado warnings at this time. We still have the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. I just saw a note that Osceola Police Dispatch says only heavy rain and wind. No damage reported there, so that is certainly some good news. But right now, Ron, this looks like mainly a wind threat with these isolated areas of upper level rotation that we'll have to keep on watching. And, you know, we still could see one or two spin ups from this line as it moves through. So don't let your guard down. But right now, no tornado warnings. They have all expired.
Okay, that's good news. Meg, do you want to see if we can get in some news this afternoon? We've got about 8 minutes before NBC Nightly News. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead. I'll pop back in with a quick look at our 7-day forecast. You're going to love that. Right now, we are faring much better in the area. Let me show you this line one more time. That is moving off to the east. The tornado warning that was once active, it has now expired. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning, however, for Lauderdale and northern Tipton County. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Cross, St. Francis, and northern Lee County. That's going to go until 5:30 as well. Spencer and I are going to regroup. We'll see you again in just a couple of minutes. We'll have your first alert forecast and tell you how much longer we're going to have to deal with this and what's behind that line. That's just minutes away.